if you're learning English and you've hit that B1, maybe B2 intermediate level, you probably know this feeling all too well.
Oh, absolutely.
You've put in hundreds, maybe thousands of hours, you know the grammar inside and out, your vocabulary is honestly probably bigger than a lot of native speakers.
And yet, when you get into a real conversation, something just feels off.
Off, exactly. It's like your English is technically perfect, but it sounds, I don't know, a little bit robotic. Yes. That is the frustration, that gap. You're trying to say something simple, like you're going to be late, and it comes out sounding like you're writing an official business memo.
Right. You're using these big, beautiful, formal words, and the person you're talking to just uses a tiny 2-word phrase that sounds so much more, well, normal.
And that's really the heart of what we're digging into today, because fluency isn't just about being correct.
No, not at all. It's about flow, it's about rhythm, it's about sounding familiar and comfortable. Textbooks give you this incredible foundation, but they teach the formal structure.
It's like they teach you how to wear a tuxedo.
It's a perfect analogy. And you're showing up in a tuxedo to a casual backyard barbecue.
Oh.
You're technically dressed perfectly, but you feel completely out of place.
So our mission for this is really clear. We are going to look at 5 specific secrets, 5 really practical upgrades to help you bridge that gap.
And we're not talking about learning more difficult words. This isn't about adding 5-syllable academic terms to your vocabulary.
No, it's about learning how the simpler words, the ones you already know, are used in a totally different way in everyday natural conversation. We want to take that solid English and help you make it sound truly effortlessly natural.
It's really a shift in thinking, isn't it? Moving away from just a checklist of grammar rules and more into the messy, dynamic flow of a real conversation.
Exactly. So let's jump right in. Let's unpack the first secret, which might just be the single biggest game changer. The phrasal verb power up.
Ah, yes. The mighty phrasal verb.
Okay, so let's get into this. Phrasal verbs. They can feel like the bane of every English learner's existence.
They really can. There are so many of them, and a lot of the time, the meaning makes no sense from the individual words.
Right, but here's the thing, the unavoidable truth. Native speakers use them constantly, all day, every day.
We do, and it's actually, it's rooted in the history of the language. When we want to sound formal or academic, we tend to use verbs that came from Latin or French. Words like commence, or investigate, or tolerate.
Okay, those sound very official.
They do. But when we're just talking, casually, our language defaults back to its Anglo-Saxon, its Germanic roots. And that means shorter, punchier verbs, which often come in that verb, plus a little word structure we call a phrasal verb.
So the core strategy here for an intermediate learner is actually pretty simple. It's a direct swap.
Exactly. You find that formal, single verb you learned from your textbook, and you consciously swap it for its casual 2-word phrasal verb twin.
And instantly your speech starts to sound more relaxed, more conversational.
The meaning is identical, but the feeling, the social impact is completely different. If you use a big Latin word in a casual chat, you're signaling distance, formality.
Yeah.
But if you use the phrasal verb, you're signaling rapport. You're saying, hey, we're on the same level here.
Let's make this super practical. Let's dive into some key examples that you will hear every single day. Let's start with the word arrive.
Okay, arrive, a perfectly good word.
But a bit stiff.
Yeah.
If our friend Sarah is looking for Mike at party, she's not going to text your friend, has Mike arrived at the party?
No, it sounds like she's an event coordinator. She'd say, did Mike finally turn up?
Turn up, yes. It has this casual feel, like maybe he was a little late, maybe his appearance was a bit unexpected. It's just looser.
Totally. Or let's take your example of investigate. Mike's at the office. He sees a mistake in a report. He's not going to stand up and announce to his team, I shall now investigate this irregularity.
He'd sound like a robot.
He would. He'd just say, that's weird. I'll look into it. Look into it. That's the default for any kind of informal check or investigation. It's so efficient.
That's a great one for that kind of professional but still informal setting. Okay, how about patience? The formal word is tolerate.
Right. So imagine Sarah is complaining about her noisy roommate.
She is definitely not going to say, I can no longer tolerate his loud music.
Never. She'd say, I don't know how much longer I can put up with his music. Put up with. That is the absolute 100% essential phrasal verb for dealing with something unpleasant.
Okay, I love that one. What about starting a new hobby? Mike decides he wants to learn guitar. He wouldn't say to Sarah, I have commenced the study of guitar.
No, that's hilarious. He'd say, I decided to take up guitar last month. Make up. It's so specific for starting a new hobby, a sport, a class.
This is great, but I think we have to tackle the really tricky part of phrasal verbs now. The thing that always trips learners up.
You mean whether to split them up or not?
Exactly, the separability. How do you know where to put the object? Does it go in the middle or at the end? This feels like a secret code sometimes.
It does, and this is a really crucial point for B2 learners. Getting this right is a huge fluency signal. Okay, so phrasal verbs are either separable or inseparable.
Okay.
If a phrasal verb is separable, it means the object, the what, can go either at the end or it can sit right in the middle between the verb and the little word, the particle.
So let's use an example. Cancel becomes call off. That one is separable.
Right. So Mike has a meeting. He could say the boss had to call off the meeting, object at the end.
Okay, simple enough.
Or he could say the boss had to call the meeting off, object in the middle. Both are perfect. Both sound completely natural.
But there's a catch, isn't there?
There is. This is the golden rule. If you replace the object, the meeting, with a pronoun like it, him, her, or them, you must put it in the middle. The separation becomes mandatory.
So you have to say the boss had to call it off.
You must. If you say the boss had to call off it, that's an immediate flashing red light that flags you as a non-native speaker. It just breaks the rhythm of the sentence. Mastering that one little rule is a massive step.
Okay, so another one. The verb invent becomes make up. So if Sarah invented a story, she could say she made up a story or she made a story up.
Correct. But if we use it, she has to say.
She made it up. You can't say made up it.
Exactly. Now you compare that to an inseparable phrasal verb like the one we used before, look into.
Right, for investigate.
So Mike says, I'll look into the problem. He cannot separate them. He can never ever say, I'll look the problem into. It just sounds completely wrong.
So really, when you learn a new phrasal verb, you almost have to learn a third piece of information, verb, particle, and is it separable or not?
That's the high level approach, yes.
Yeah.
And paying special attention to that mandatory pronoun in the middle rule for the separable ones. That's your fast track.
Okay, let's add just a few more really high frequency ones that people can use today. What about when you need to solve a problem or organize something?
That's sort out. It's brilliant. If Sarah and Mike have a disagreement about a project plan, Mike would say, don't worry, we'll meet tomorrow morning and sort it out.
There it is again, sort it out, that mandatory separation. Okay, what if you need to mention a difficult topic in a meeting?
That's bring up. If Sarah is nervous about asking for a raise, Mike might say, you just need to find the right moment to bring it up with the manager.
Bring it up. Perfect. And the last one, which we mentioned, but it's so important, it's worth repeating, to discover new information.
Find out, not discover.
Yeah.
I just found out that our flight is delayed. It's used dozens of times a day.
So the strategy here, the big takeaway, is not to go home and try to memorize a list of 100 phrasal verbs.
Please don't do that. You'll drive yourself crazy.
Instead, you take one, just one. Pick a formal verb you use a lot, like delay, and learn its phrasal twin, which is put off.
Right. And then you give yourself a mission.
A mission to use put off 3 times today. In an email, in a conversation, even just in your own head. I'm going to put off doing the laundry. That forces it from passive knowledge into your active speaking vocabulary.
Make it functional immediately. That's the key. And start listening for it. When you hear native speakers, pay attention. Are they saying postpone or put off? And when they use it, where does the it go? That active listening is just as important as the active speaking.
All right, that's a fantastic foundation. So from the words themselves, let's move on to secret number 2. This is about managing the space between the words. It's about buying yourself thinking time with fillers.
Yes, this is all about conversational momentum. If phrasal verbs are about swapping out the wrong words for the right ones, fillers are about swapping out awkward silence for something that sounds natural.
Because the lie that textbooks tell us is that conversations are smooth and perfect.
Right. The dialogues in textbooks have no hesitation. Every character knows exactly what they're going to say next.
But real life is not like that at all. Especially when you're speaking a second language, your brain is doing a million things at once. Retrieving words, checking grammar, thinking about the actual idea.
It's an immense cognitive load. And if you just stop talking, if you go silent, 2 things happen. First, the conversation loses energy. And second, you, the speaker, feel this mounting pressure to say something, anything, which makes it even harder to think.
So fillers, these little phrases, they are this brilliant tool. They're like a little signal flag you raise to the listener that says, hang on, I'm still here. My brain is just buffering for a second.
They are the lubricant of conversation. They keep the engine running smoothly while you find the right gear. And different fillers have different, very specific jobs. They're not all just,
Let's break down some of the most important ones. Let's start with a big one. To be honest.
Okay. This one is so much more than just a pause. It's a social signal. When you say, to be honest, you're preparing your listener. You're telling them, I'm now going to give you my real, candid opinion, and it might not be what you want to hear.
So it's used when you're about to be a little bit critical or share a personal belief?
Exactly. So if Mike asks Sarah what she thought of his presentation, and Sarah thought it was just okay, she can't just say it was boring.
That's too direct, too harsh.
Right. So she softens it. She says, to be honest, I think it could have been a bit more engaging in the middle part. That little phrase makes the criticism feel constructive instead of just negative.
Okay, now let's contrast that with another one. Actually.
Actually has a different job. Its job is to gently correct a misunderstanding or introduce a surprising or unexpected piece of information. It's a very soft way to say what you think is true isn't quite right.
So if Mike says to Sarah, hey, great job finishing that report, but Sarah hasn't finished it yet.
She doesn't say, you are wrong. She says, actually, I still have the conclusion to write. I had to sort out that client issue first. It corrects him gently without making him feel stupid. It's all about social management.
Okay, I love that distinction. What about the one we all use to check if the other person is following us? You know what I mean?
Yes, or just, who?
Yeah.
This is your conversational checkpoint. You use it when you're explaining something that's maybe a little abstract or emotional or complicated.
You're literally asking for confirmation. Are you with me?
Precisely. If Sarah's describing a really weird dream she had, she might say, and the whole sky was like orange and everyone was walking backwards. You know what I mean? She's checking if Mike can imagine that strange feeling.
And then there's the purest form of thinking time buyer. Let me see.
Or let me think. This is for when you are genuinely actively searching your brain for a piece of data, a name, a number, a date.
So if Mike asks Sarah, what time is our flight tomorrow? Sarah might look up at the ceiling and say, let me see, I think it's 10:45. 10:45 a.m. It signals that you are processing, not that you are ignoring the question.
Exactly. It's a status update for your brain. Now, we could add a few more advanced ones to this list. For example, I mean...
Well, yes, for clarifying what you just said.
Right. We say something a bit vague, and then we immediately realize we need to be more specific. I'm really not looking forward to this meeting. I just think it's going to be a waste of time. The I mean introduces the specific reason for the general feeling.
And what about the ones that make us sound less certain, less absolute? Things like kind of and sort of.
Essential. Absolutely essential for politeness in English. Being too direct or too certain can sometimes come across as arrogant or blunt. These little phrases soften your statements.
So instead of Sarah saying, I disliked the movie,
she could say, it was kind of slow, or I sort of felt like the ending was predictable. It softens the blow. It leaves room for other opinions. It's much more collaborative.
And one more that I hear all the time at the end of a sentence.
Right.
Or, yeah.
Yes. It's not really a question asking for information. It's a way of seeking tiny, minimal agreement to keep the conversation flowing.
Like it's so hot today, right?
Exactly. You're not asking for the temperature. You're just inviting the other person to go, ugh, yeah, totally. It's a little hook to keep them engaged.
Okay, let's bring this all together with that pizza example from our source material, because it shows the transformation so clearly.
Let's do it. First, the textbook version. Mike is asked if he likes pizza. He says, I do not like pizza. It is too greasy.
It's so blunt. It feels like an attack on pizza. It just kills the conversation right there.
It does. It's a conversational dead end. Now let's hear the natural filler-infused version.
Mike says, to be honest, I'm kind of not a huge fan of pizza. It's a bit too greasy, you know what I mean?
See? The difference is just monumental. It's a completely different social interaction.
Let's break that down. He starts with, to be honest, which signals a personal, maybe slightly negative opinion.
Then he uses kind of to soften the, not a huge fan. It's not, I hate it. It's, I'm kind of not a huge fan.
And he ends with, you know what I mean? Which invites Sarah to understand his perspective, even if she disagrees. He's turned a harsh fact into a shared, relatable opinion.
He went from a data delivery machine to a human being. And that's the power of fillers. It's all about conversational comfort.
Okay, so we've got the words, we've got the pauses. Now we need to talk about the music of the language. Secret number 3, mastering the flow with the schwa sound.
This is often the biggest aha moment for learners. It's the secret sound that makes English sound so fast and, well, blurry sometimes.
The secret isn't about pronouncing every letter perfectly.
No, in fact, it's the opposite. The secret is knowing which letters and vowels not to pronounce fully. It's about knowing where to be lazy.
And that lazy sound is the schwa. It's represented by this symbol. Can you describe what it sounds like?
It's the weakest, shortest, most neutral vowel sound you can make. It's just a quick, relaxed And it is the single most common sound in the entire English language.
Why is it so common?
Because English is what we call a stress-timed language. This is a really key concept. We don't give equal time to every syllable.
Unlike, say, Spanish or Japanese, which are more syllable timed.
Exactly. In English, we rush through the unimportant syllables to get to the important stressed ones. The important syllables get stretched out and the unimportant ones get compressed and crushed. And the sound of that compression is the schwa.
So you're saying if I try to pronounce every vowel clearly and perfectly, I'm actually making my English sound worse.
You're making it sound unnatural. You're destroying the rhythm. You're putting little speed bumps between every word. Using the schwa is what allows us to create that smooth flowing stream of sound.
Let's get into the examples. The word today. A learner might say today, giving equal weight to both parts.
But a native speaker puts all the stress on the second syllable, day. So the first syllable, the to, gets reduced. It becomes a weak, quick schwa. It sounds like today.
Today.
Okay, I can hear that. What about banana? The stress is in the middle, on that na. So the vowels on either side would get crushed. They both become schwas. We don't say banana, we say banana.
Banan.
Right.
You can barely hear those A sounds at the beginning and end.
You can't. And if you pronounce them fully, a native speaker's brain subconsciously registers it. It hears too many full vowel sounds and it interprets that as slow or formal speech.
What about the word police?
Same principle. The stress is on lice. So the ko at the beginning becomes a weak schwa. Police, services.
Police. Okay, this is making sense. Now let's take this and apply it to the words that appear most often, the little grammar words.
This is where B2 learners can make the biggest and fastest improvement. We call them function words. They're the grammatical glue of a sentence. Prepositions like to and for, articles like a and the, conjunctions like and.
And these words almost never get stressed.
Almost never. So they almost always get reduced to a schwa. Let's take the preposition for. If you say it by itself, you say for, but in a sentence, it becomes for. That.
So Mike wouldn't say, this gift is for you.
No, he'd say, this gift is for you. It gets swallowed. Or, what are you looking for?
The preposition to is another huge one. It's almost never pronounced to, with that strong ooh sound in a sentence.
Almost never. It becomes to aturo. I have to go. Not I have to go, or I went to the store. Overpronouncing that to is one of the clearest signs of a non-native rhythm.
And what about the word and?
Often it just becomes the sound N or N. Sarah and Mike becomes Sarah and Mike. We're just lazy. We're trying to get to the next important word as fast as possible.
The articles a and the must be the most common then.
They are. And they're almost always reduced. The word a is just the schwa sound itself. I bought coffee, not I bought AY coffee. And the becomes the A at the store. Quick, weak, almost invisible sounds.
So the big takeaway here is to start listening for the weak sounds, not just the strong ones. Listen for the words that get swallowed.
Exactly. Identify those little function words and practice saying them lazily. That's where English gets its speed and its unique musicality. Let's do a couple more complex words for practice.
Okay.
The word comfortable. In the dictionary, it has 4 syllables. Comfortable. But nobody says that.
What do we say?
We crush the middle. It sounds like 3 syllables, or even 2.5. Comfortable. The or and the a both get reduced or disappear entirely.
Comfortable. Right. And about.
Stress is on bout. So the a at the beginning is a schwa. Bout. What are you talking about?
It's important to say you will still be understood if you pronounce all these vowels.
Oh, of course. Perfectly understood. But you'll sound like you're speaking in slow motion. The schwa is the key that unlocks that natural rhythmic flow. It's non-negotiable for sounding truly fluent.
Okay, fantastic. Let's move on to our 4th secret. This one is very practical and something you can change immediately. It's about upgrading the basic greeting exchange.
Ah, yes. Moving beyond the classic, but very stilted. How are you? I am fine, thank you. And you?
It's grammatically perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. But in a casual conversation, it feels socially awkward.
It does. Using that very pristine textbook greeting creates this little bubble of formality. If Mike walks up to his good friend Sarah and says, in a flat tone, "How are you?" Sarah's first thought might be, "What's wrong? Is he mad at me?"
Right. Because it signals distance. It doesn't signal friendly rapport.
A natural greeting should be more fluid, more relaxed, and really importantly, it should open the door for a real quick exchange, not just a factual report on your health.
So let's expand the lot of alternatives. We have the basics like, how's it going, or how are things? What else can we use?
Well, it depends on the context.
Yeah.
You haven't seen the person in a little while. A great one is, what have you been up to? Or more casually, what have you been up to?
That's a good one because it's a genuine question. It invites a little story. Oh, I took up painting.
Exactly. Or in a work setting, with a colleague you see every day, you can make it more specific. Something like, "Morning, how's that big project coming along?" Or, "Hey, all set for the 10 o'clock meeting." It combines the greeting with something immediately relevant.
Okay, so the question is one part. The other half is the answer. We have to break the "I am fine" habit.
We have to. If Mike says, "Hey, Sarah, how's it going?" and she just replies, "I am fine," the conversation just thuds. It hits a wall.
So what are the better alternatives? The ones that keep the ball in the air?
The best ones are quick, casual, and they always bounce the question back to the other person. My favorite is, "Not bad yourself."
Not bad. It's so neutral and common. Or can't complain.
"Can't complain" is great. It signals that things are generally okay without sounding overly enthusiastic. Pretty good is another solid one.
And what if things aren't just fine? What if you're actually busy or a little stressed?
Instead of just saying, "I am busy," which can sound a bit like you're shutting down the conversation, you can integrate some of our other secrets. Sarah could say, "Actually, pretty busy. Just trying to sort out this report, but can't complain. How about you?"
Wow. Okay, that answer used a filler, a phrasal verb, and a natural response. That's high-level stuff.
It is, and it sounds completely normal. Let's run a full scenario, the before and after.
Okay. Scenario 1, the textbook version. Mike sees Sarah in the office kitchen.
Mike, "Good morning, Sarah. How are you today?"
Sarah, I am fine, thank you, Mike. I have commenced my duties for the day. And you?
Mike, "I am also fine. I hope you have a productive day."
It sounds like two robots who have been programmed for politeness. There is zero warmth, zero connection.
None at all. Now, scenario 2, the natural version. Same situation.
Mike, hey Sarah, how's it going? You look like you're on a mission this morning.
Huh. Yeah, pretty good. Just trying to put off looking at my inbox. You know what I mean? It's kind of scary in there. How about you?
Mike, totally. I'm just gonna look into that system bug later. For now, coffee. Actually, do you want one?
See the difference? The second conversation is alive. It has personality. It uses fillers, phrasal verbs, humor. They sound like real colleagues who actually like each other.
Just upgrading your greeting is probably the fastest and easiest way to start sounding more natural today.
Without a doubt.
Which brings us to our fifth and final secret. This is the high-level touch. If phrasal verbs are the B2 foundation, this is the C1 flair that really shows you've mastered the language. We're talking about idioms.
Yes. Idioms, those strange little phrases where the meaning has absolutely nothing to do with the words themselves.
Like under the weather has nothing to do with rain.
Exactly. And because idioms are a kind of shared cultural shortcut, using the right one at the right time is a huge signal of fluency. It shows you're not just translating grammar in your head, you are thinking and feeling within the culture of the language.
But, and this is a huge but, we have to start with a very important warning.
A critical warning. Do not overuse them. Please. The learner who tries to cram an idiom into every other sentence doesn't sound fluent. They sound like they're trying too hard. It sounds unnatural in its own way, like they're showing off a list they just memorized.
So the key is to use them sparingly, only when the context is absolutely perfect.
Precisely. Let's go through a list of some really common, useful idioms and talk about exactly when you would use them.
Okay, let's recap the ones we've touched on. Hit the nail on the head.
When someone describes a situation or feeling with perfect accuracy, yes, that's it. You hit the nail on the head.
Piece of cake.
When a task is incredibly easy, don't worry about the presentation. It'll be a piece of cake.
Under the weather.
For feeling just a little bit sick or unwell, not seriously ill. I think I'll stay home today. I'm feeling a bit under the weather.
And call it a day.
To decide to stop working on something for the day. Okay, it's 5 o'clock. I'm tired. Let's call it a day.
Okay, now let's add 4 more really essential ones for that B2 to C1 level.
First up, bite the bullet.
Bite the bullet. What does that mean?
It means to force yourself to do something difficult or unpleasant that you've been avoiding because you know it's necessary.
Okay, so if Mike has to have a difficult conversation with his boss about a mistake he made,
Sarah might tell him, look, you just have to bite the bullet and tell him what happened. It's better than him finding out from someone else. It's about facing the pain directly.
I like that. Okay, next one.
The best of both worlds.
This one sounds positive.
It is. It describes a situation where you get to enjoy all the advantages of 2 different, often contrasting things at the same time.
So if Sarah gets a job where she can work from home 3 days a week, but also go into the office 2 days a week to see her colleagues,
She has the best of both worlds. She gets the flexibility of remote work and the social connection of the office. It's the ideal compromise.
perfect. What's number 3?
This one is about timing. Miss the boat.
Okay, so this means you were too late for something.
Exactly. You were too slow to take advantage of an opportunity, and now it's gone. If there was a big sale on flights to Spain and Mike waited too long to book,
He missed the boat. The prices went back up.
exactly. It's a common way to express regret about a lost chance.
And the last one for today.
A very useful one, especially in a work context. Cut corners.
To cut corners. This sounds negative.
It is. It means to do a job in a cheap, careless, or overly fast way by skipping important steps, which usually results in poor quality.
So if a company releases a new phone and the battery life is terrible,
A critic might say, they clearly cut corners on the battery to get the phone released before their competitor. It implies a sacrifice of quality for speed or cost.
the danger here, I guess, is using them in the wrong context, misunderstanding the meaning.
It's a huge danger. It's much worse than using a formal word. If Mike thinks miss the boat is literally about losing a boat, he might say something like, I missed the boat on my car keys, and that just causes complete confusion.
So the advice is to learn them one at a time, really understand the exact situation where they're used, and listen for native speakers using them first.
Absolutely. Don't just translate the words, understand the situation.
And when you put it all together, it can sound so smooth.
Right. Think about this sentence from Mike. To be honest, I'm feeling a bit under the weather, so I think I'm going to call it a day. The report itself was a piece of cake, but now I have to look into these new numbers they sent.
Wow. That sentence has a filler, an idiom, another idiom, another idiom, and a phrasal verb.
And it sounds 100% natural. It just flows.
Which brings us to our final section, synthesis, bringing all 5 secrets together.
Because the real magic happens when these things stop being separate rules you're thinking about and start becoming an integrated, natural part of how you speak.
We want you, the listener, to see how these secrets all work together to achieve the same goal.
That's right. When you swap investigate for look into, you're choosing a more efficient, casual word. When you say actually before correcting someone, you're choosing social comfort over bluntness. They're all tools for better communication.
So let's go back to our final practice sentence. The original textbook sentence was, I delayed the event because it was raining heavily.
It's correct, it's clear, but it's very formal and a bit robotic.
Now let's walk through the transformation to the natural version, which is, actually, I had to put off the event because it was really pouring down.
Okay, step 1. The first thing that happens is the brain needs a second to frame the excuse, so we add the filler.
Actually, buys time, and it also gently sets up an explanation that might be slightly different from what the listener expected.
Step 2. We hit that formal Latin-based verb, delayed, and we immediately perform the swap. Delayed becomes...
Put off. The default casual phrasal verb instantly sounds more natural.
Step 3. We look at the description. Raining heavily. It's fine, but it's a bit meteorological. It's a weather report. How do people actually describe heavy rain?
They use more expressive common phrases like pouring down or chucking it down or bucketing down. We upgrade the description to something more vivid and colloquial.
And finally, there's the secret we can't see but we can hear, the schwa. In the phrase, I had to, that to gets reduced. It sounds like I had to put off. It speeds the whole thing up.
So we go from a stiff, passive report of a fact to an active, engaged, natural-sounding explanation of what happened.
And that's the whole journey. The mission here was never about getting you to some imaginary level of grammatical perfection. If you're B2, you're probably already there.
Right. It's about getting you comfortable with the informal patterns, prioritizing flow and speed, and that feeling of social connection.
These 5 secrets are your toolkit. They're not just theories. You can literally pick one phrasal verb, one filler, and one greeting and start using them in the next hour. Start listening for the schwa in the next conversation you overhear.
It's all about moving from just being understood to feeling like you truly belong in the conversation, to become a textbook to trailblazer.
Exactly. And that actually leads to a final provocative thought for you to take away.
Yeah.
We've spent this whole time talking about how formal textbook words are constantly being replaced by simpler, more casual structures like phrasal verbs.
Right, it's an ongoing evolution.
So the question to ask yourself is this: what are the formal textbook phrases you hear today, maybe in your work or your studies, that are on the chopping block? What's the next generation of stuffy English that's going to be quietly replaced by a faster, simpler, more informal alternative in the next 5 or 10 years?
Oh, that's interesting. So it's about trying to spot the changes as they happen.
How can you as a learner develop an ear for that? How can you spot these shifts early and stay ahead of the curve? That way, your English will not only sound natural now, but it will continue to sound modern and relevant for years to come. Keep listening, keep practicing, and thank you for joining us for this deep dive.